The Dodgers won. River Ryan made his MLB debut. Teoscar Hernandez was the big winner of the night. And the Dodgers made a maybe somewhat surprising move before the game even started. Let's get into everything. Let's get locked on Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, Dodger fans. Welcome to Locked On Dodgers. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the .1 local sports daily podcast network. Locked On, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Dodgers is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. This is a daily podcast covering the Los Angeles Dodgers, bringing you the smart fans' perspective on our boys in blue. You can find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube. All you got to do is search for Locked On Dodgers. You can become an everydayer by listening or watching every day, which can be made easier by subscribing and being notified when our episodes are ready or when we're going live like we are here on Monday night. If this is your first time listening or watching, welcome. My name is Vince Samperio. That's my co-host, Jeff Snyder. Jeff and I are both lifelong Dodger fans that have covered the team in a variety of ways over the last decade, writing about the team, talking about the team, being in the press box, being in the locker room, interviewing players, all that type of stuff. And we're continuing to do that here on this podcast every Monday through Friday, trying to make all of us better Dodger fans, or at least more informed Dodger fans as the days go on. And Jeff, the Dodgers ended the pre-All-Star break with two really tough losses and a series loss. They've now come out of that All-Star break with four straight wins, four straight somewhat close-ish wins. One was made close at the end, but nonetheless, they're winning, and that's what really matters. Muted.
Sorry, I'm bad at this internet thing. Yeah, it's a little frustrating to look back at that Tigers series and realize they should have swept that series, in which case this would be a 7-game winning streak. But you know what? We'll take the 4-game winning streak. It's a good way to start the last part of the season. And I jokingly put in the little blurb on the side, did the home run derby ruin Teoscar Hernandez's swing? Seems like Teo's doing okay. I think he actually said to Kirsten Watson after the game that he thinks the home run derby helped him because it helped him focus on getting the ball in the air, which, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing Jason Hayward, working on that a little bit. Maybe Jason Hayward should be in a home run derby. Gavin Lux has been doing better lately. That's been a lot of his problem this season is, hitting the ball on the ground instead of line drives. And so, we talked about it after Teoscar's home run derby performance, that the swing just looked like his classic swing. He wasn't swinging out of shoes. He was trying to hit hard line drives to left center. And a guy like Teo, when he tries to hit hard line drives to left center, there's going to be a lot of good hits coming for him.
Yeah, and Dodgers scored 3 runs, all came off the bat of Teoscar Hernandez, a homer, and a couple of singles with runners on base. It was, one of those performances for him that really stood out, obviously, with not getting stuff from the top of the order, Tani and Freeman not contributing as much, but the Dodgers got it done. And we've talked a lot about this kind of phase of the Dodgers without Muncy, without Mookie Betts, and how they were going to have to win a lot of the games similar to this. And that's what they've been doing, and that's what they've been getting done. They put up a good amount of runs over the weekend, but, one of these close games, you need one big hit, and Teoscar is the one that provided it more than a few times. So for us watching him, his swing, he seems locked in. It's one of those where his swing is not going to change for a home run derby, for a regular swing, for whatever. But he is seeing pitches well right now. Like he breaking ball, going with it up the middle. Luckily, they am not playing up the middle or close up to up the middle for him. It really worked out. And he's very fun to watch when things are going well. And that's one of those things where, they talk about the energy and anything else when it comes to the Dodgers. And he's one of those guys where he's going to bring that energy if he's playing well. If he's not playing well, he can still bring it, but it's a lot better when he's doing it, and it's because he's the one bringing the runs in.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Matty Man 5 Dodge in the chat says Teo has had more clutch hits than everyone else combined. It's not true. It's kind of funny because like I assume all three. If you're looking at, I'm on Baseball Reference and what they classify as high leverage, which takes into account the score, the inning, all that stuff, who's on base, all those things. Teo, assuming all three of these at bats today counted as high leverage, which I assume they did. They were down by one for one of them and tied for the other two. Doesn't get much more high leverage than those. If they were all considered high leverage, that puts him at 20 high leverage hits this year. Will Smith has been far and away the Dodgers' best hitter in high leverage situations. 23 for 64, 359 batting average, 1028 OPS. Freddie Freeman second best. Teo, this coming into today, he was batting 210 in high leverage situations. The difference is he has had way more high leverage opportunities than everybody else just because of where he's batting in the lineup, guys on base in front of him. He's had 93, if we count those 3 days, he's up to 96 high leverage plate appearances. The next most is Freddie Freeman with 85. So it's, but the fact is, like, Teoscar in the biggest moments, it does seem like he comes through. And some of that is selective memory, but also there have been a lot of big moments where we've watched Teo celebrate, and for him to do 3 in one night is huge and definitely will add to the mystique and the legend. And for me, what I really liked in that last at bat was that he laid off a pitch just off the outside corner. That's a pitch that he has swung and missed at a lot this year at different times, and coming in there, staying in that at bat and forcing the Rodriguez to come onto the plate just barely. It was a good pitch on the outside corner, but it was close enough to where Teo could hit it and put a good swing on it. And that's going to be the key for him because he has struck out too much this season. And that's, I mean, he's got 27 strikeouts in high leverage situations too. So for whatever reason, we remember the successes more for Teo. But I do think that lately, if we split this up as the season went on, I think he has gotten better as the season's gone on. And that's, as a fan of a team that has struggled in October, having a guy who gets better as the season goes on is definitely a welcome sight for us.
Yeah. And, obviously there's always going to be different ways, but there are moments where he has struck out in big situations, but there are also times when he's kind of gone against what he normally does, which is like those singles that he hit last night or tonight. Like I said, hitting a good pitch, hitting a good pitcher's pitch. Even the slider that he hit for the home run, he's been struggling against sliders the entire season. He, went down and got that one. It wasn't a bad pitch by Blake Snell, by any means. Ian Snell is another former pitcher. But he went down and got in, and he, put the Dodgers head in. It's one of those where the Dodgers have had their struggles against Blake Snell. And even in this game, the Dodgers didn't score a lot, but he wasn't very efficient. He didn't get too many strikeouts. The Dodgers were putting the ball in play. But either way, you always need someone to kind of come through in games like this. And tonight it was him.
Yeah. One more comment in the chat. LC says, we're still struggling with left-handed pitchers. I'm not. I haven't struck out against a lefty in a long time. But assuming it means the Dodgers coming into today, the Dodgers had a 122 OPS plus against left-handed pitchers compared to 116 against right-handers. So we should all struggle that badly against left-handed pitchers. They are one of the best teams in baseball against left-handed pitching. So we will take that. That narrative hasn't been true in about 6 years. And Teo is a big part of that. The reason why, that great game for Teoscar Hernandez. So much fun because he's got the best smile in the world. He's passionate. He's excited. Like he loves playing baseball. You can tell. And when a guy who loves baseball that much gets to celebrate like that, like you hardly ever see a guy slam his bat to the ground on a single up the middle, but he knew the situation. He knew it was huge, and he knew this is awesome. I'm at home. I just got my third big hit of the game. I'm going to enjoy this. And I loved it. Every bit of it.
Yeah. And especially against the Dodger rivals, he understands, everyone understands kind of the importance, even if the rivalry hasn't been as, I guess, intense as it has in the past. Even in 2021, when they were battling for first place, it was not really intense. It hasn't been that way since really the Bumgarner-Puig days, but it's still one of the biggest rivalries in baseball. And, it's definitely always better to beat your rival than it is to not beat your rival. So, The other guy that stood out in the game was River Ryan, who made his MLB debut and didn't quite give us the complete game shutout that we had talked about last night, but it didn't really matter because he did very well and showed some stuff that could play in the big leagues for sure. We'll talk about him and everything that happened, so make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. Today's episode of Locked On Dodgers is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly want to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. And if you've never checked out San Diego, next week would be a good chance for you to do so because the Dodgers have a little midweek series out there down in San Diego. And with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city. In this case, baseball division rival, not the Dodgers' actual rival. But either way, San Diego is a great place to go check out if you want to go do that next week. You can, there are places that probably overlook Petco Park, and if you don't go to all three games, maybe you can catch one game from a rooftop or something like that. So go check out Booking.com, see what they got, see what you can get for the rest of the season. They're also playing Houston this weekend, but that's not as fun as San Diego. So go check out Booking.com, and remember, the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. We love sports, and we never want them to stop. But as the playoffs have kind of ended in the other major sports, there's fewer games, and sports aren't quite doing what we want. But FanDuel lets us keep sports going whenever we want, because all I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. You take a look at tomorrow's game. You have Landon Knack versus Jordan Hicks. The Dodgers are currently minus 138 to win straight up on the money line, which isn't great value. But if you think the Dodgers are going to win by more than 2 runs, they are at plus 150, which is pretty good value. And, the Dodgers do play a lot of one-run games and do play a lot of close games against the Giants. But, maybe you have faith that they're going to get some runs off Jordan Hicks. There's a lot of other things to put down for your same game parlays, guys to get 1 hit, guys to get 2 hits, 3 hits, total bases, player strikeouts, over under on runs in the first inning, a lot of different things. So go to FanDuel.com to check it all out. Make sure to check out their daily booster bonus and not waste any more time. So FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. I want to thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day. Make sure to find us wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Make sure to become an everydayer by listening or watching every day. And make sure to subscribe or make sure to subscribe, get notified when episodes are ready or when we're going live. Remember, you can check out Locked On Sports Today or Locked On Sports Los Angeles, 2 24/7 streaming channels from the Locked On Podcast Network. Bringing the biggest news and stories from the sports world and the LA sports world. You can check out Locked On Sport or Locked On Dodgers postcast with host Pete Fox on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, live after most Dodger games and in our audio feed. All right, Jeff. So River Ryan was probably going to be the main story, but Teo ended up stealing the show a little bit, and rightfully so. River Ryan in his major league debut had one of the longest starts by a Dodger starting pitcher in the month of July. He went into the 6th inning for the first time in his professional career. He was very efficient early on. Didn't quite have the swing and miss, but was getting a lot of soft contact and was using his pitch mix to do pretty well, and got a little bit of help by bad defense that turned into lucky defense there in that first inning. And it was about as much as you could really ask for someone in their major league debut.
Yeah, 5 1/3 innings, no earned runs. Hard to quibble too much with that. Like you said, that first inning might have gone a little bit differently if Miguel Vargas hadn't expertly baited the runner into trying to go to third base. But all in all, yeah, there was definitely room for improvement. He's going to look at this, and he walked 3 guys, which is more than you'd like. And I think that's part of, Noah mentioned in the chat, wish he had seen more strikeouts from River Ryan. I think those go hand in hand when you're not in the zone, it's harder to get strikeouts because you do get into hitters counts more where you have to throw more hittable pitches. And that's the nature of pitching. And I've said many times, there are some things about being a major league pitcher that you can only learn by pitching in the major leagues. The fact is, AA and AAA hitters probably swing at some of those pitches off the plate that he was throwing today, and big leaguers don't as much. And so there will be a learning curve for him, but the stuff is good enough that even with that learning curve, he got through 5 1/3 with no earned runs allowed. Like there's really, when that's the baseline, and obviously he's going to have worse starts than that he's going to allow an earned run at some point this season, assuming he gets another start. We'll talk more about that in a minute, probably. But it's a really good starting point for him to say, okay, I need to be, there's specific things that he and the pitching coaches can work with on, okay, in this situation, you were hitting this spot, you need to hit this spot instead. The difference between the big leagues and the minor leagues. And that's an awesome opportunity for him to get to learn that in the big leagues.
Yeah. Fastball, sat 96, got it up to 98.4 at one point. The curveball, which is, probably one of his better pitches, wasn't quite landing for him last night. He did get 3 swings and misses off the cutter off just 6 times he threw it. So, maybe there's a little bit something more there that he can mess around with. But, all in all, he has here listed 6 different pitches. He threw them all at least 6 times, obviously relying on the fastball and the slider more than anything else. But, yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like he was just pulling off the ball a little bit when he was coming down. A lot of the stuff was kind of sweeping, toward the left-handed batter, away from a right-handed batter. Stuff that was just missing, but out of the hand, you could tell it probably wasn't going to be a strike because he doesn't have any pitches that really move in the opposite way. And once he kind of figures that out and gets settled in and everything else, he definitely showed stuff that can play, and didn't show us stuff that should play in the future, like the curveball.
Yeah, and that's the looking at his pitch, like you said, 6 different pitches. The changeup, you guys, everydayers know how much I love me a good changeup. And that was a pitch that looked really good, but part of where that learning curve is going to be, because he threw that changeup, let's see, 9 times. I don't remember him being sick 9 times. That's because he wasn't sick. He was skipping school. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He threw the changeup 9 times, and 5 of them for balls, 1 hit, 2 outs, and a swing and miss. So only 1 swing and miss on the changeup. Those 5 balls were probably a case of he probably gets a swing and miss on 3 of those 5 in the minor leagues, because they were good pitches, but just big league hitters are able to spit on those a little bit. So you got to bring it a little bit closer to the zone. One of those things I'm talking about. But yeah, when you're a guy with that many different pitches that you can throw, it definitely is going to be beneficial to you, being able to keep hitters off balance and all of that. It's just going to be a matter of him figuring out the pitch mix and the location a little bit and commanding it.
Yeah, and going as deep into a baseball game as you've ever have as a professional, when you finally get to the majors, is a big accomplishment. He ran into a little trouble there. He might have been able to get through 6 just the way he was going early on, until that 5th inning when he ran into a little bit of trouble, and then gave up the base runner there in the 6th. But Alex Vesia came in and handled it. And Vesia, while I'm still not completely sold on him, he is making me believe a little bit, because he's getting the job done, and this is all about results, and he's producing results.
Yeah, Vesia was huge, coming in and get 2 strikeouts in that situation. Ryan threw 73 pitches. The most he threw in a minor league game this year was 67. So you figure they weren't going to let him go past 80 or so anyway. I was glad they let him come out for the 6th. I thought that was big for his confidence and everything, and getting an out in the 6th inning. We're going to talk next segment about a guy who didn't do that very often for the Dodgers this year. It'll be interesting to see what happens with River Ryan in the short-term future, just because, Justin Robleski is still on the roster, but we've got Tyler Glasnow and Clayton Kershaw both coming back this week. The Dodgers still only, or River Ryan, yeah, with Paxton being DFA'd, which we'll talk about in the next segment, Dodgers only have 4 starters currently. But that means either River Ryan or Justin Robleski is going back to the minors sometime this week when Glasnow and Kershaw come back. And I'm interested to see what that decision is, because I do think Robleski probably would have been back in the minors already if it hadn't been for, the little injuries and whatnot. So maybe they let River Ryan have another start or two this time through and send Robleski down. It'll definitely be interesting to see, though.
Yeah, Robleski's had given up the homers, but been good kind of besides that. But River Ryan's definitely at this point a little bit more exciting to kind of see what else he can do in a couple more starts. So we'll see what happens. We'll talk a little bit about that and the Dodgers' big move, big decision that they made on Monday. So make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Today's episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. That means you can turn $10 into $1,000. And what does it mean to make a pick? Well, you find a player and you get a stat projection and you pick more or less on that stat projection. You need at least 2 players and stats to choose in order to put $10 down, but you can go all the way up to 6. And obviously, the more players, the better odds you have of taking home bigger money. So get in on the excitement. Win up to 100 times your cash with the summer games on Prize Picks. You can make your Prize Pick lineup of players across basketball, soccer, tennis, golf, baseball, and more in as little as 60 seconds. So please go download the Prize Picks app. Remember, it's available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. I'm an avid Prize Picks user, and I'm still here kicking it with Prize Picks. So you should too. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Thank you for being an everydayer if you are one. If you're not an everydayer, all you have to do is listen or watch every day. And if you're not ready to commit to being an everydayer, all you can do really to help us out is just listen to or watch at least one more episode a week. And, maybe that turns into more, maybe it doesn't. But either way, we're still going to love you. So if you are someone that listens or watches more often than you don't. So make sure to go do that. And remember, you can go beyond the podcast, come on Locked On Dodgers Insider at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. You can get text directly from us with any breaking news, rumors, thoughts, updates, anything in the Dodger world. You can also text us back and ask any questions or any comments or, just general baseball talk, if Dodger talk, if that's what you're up for. And if you were a Locked On Dodgers insider and you weren't on social media during the day, or you have a job that doesn't allow you to be on there, you would have gotten a text on Monday that notified you that the Dodgers decided to designate James Paxton for assignment. And I don't know, Jeff, it was, I wouldn't say surprising move as much as maybe a little shocking, just the timing of it. But I definitely saw a lot of James Paxton love, more love than I thought on social media. But again, I guess your thoughts.
Yeah, my text to our insiders when it happened, I said the Dodgers are DFAing James Paxton to make room for River Ryan on the 40-man and 26-man rosters. Not surprising, but also very surprising, which kind of sums it up. Like, yeah, I mean, we were doing episodes even back when James Paxton's, external numbers look good, that crap, this isn't sustainable. He's walking too many guys. He's not striking anybody out. That he's going to lose. Like when his ERA was 261 or 281, his FIP was 615. Like it wasn't sustainable. And then the results started to catch up with them. And I made a comparison on Twitter when we did start seeing that love, like people saying, well, he was 8-2. How bad could he have been? He's the only Dodger pitcher who hasn't been hurt this year. He takes the ball every time. My problem is he's averaged less than 5 innings a start this year. If his job is to be an innings eater and he's not eating innings and he's not even pitching well, like the Dodgers have plenty of options who can go almost 5 innings and pitch better than James Paxton has. That what they needed for him was to eat innings. And so I made the comparison on Twitter. He's like Lance Lynn last year, except doesn't actually eat the innings that he was supposed to. Lance Lynn made 11 starts with the Dodgers last year. He averaged about 6 innings per start, and he had a 4.36 ERA, went 7-2. Win-loss record looks great. 4.36 ERA, not great. The FIP was bad too. Well, James Paxton in his last 11 starts this year, so the same number of starts that Lance Lynn made, 5.82 ERA. Like he's been bad. The magic wore off. Whatever pixie dust he had earlier in the season, when he somehow managed to walk 8 guys in 5 innings and only allow 3 runs, and in his first game, 5 innings. That game against the Giants, 5 innings, 4 hits, 5 walks, 9 base runners in 5 innings, and no runs. Like that wasn't sustainable. And it's why teams don't look at win-loss record when they're evaluating pitchers. Anybody watching these games could tell, yeah, James Paxton is not a good pitcher anymore. And I feel bad saying that. I have nothing against James Paxton. Seems like a nice guy. I hope he catches on with the team, and I hope he pitches well. But I am really, really happy that I won't have to watch him pitch for my favorite team anymore, because every time he pitches, you're like, oh crap, this game could get ugly. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But like I said, 5.82 ERA in his last 11 starts, way more often than not, it was getting ugly.
Yeah. And for me, we talked a little bit about this last week or 2 weeks ago about how the Dodgers could buy and sell a little bit at the deadline. This could be one of those situations. Like they might end up trading Paxton, even though they designated for assignment, like it's still available to make a trade. And I doubt they'd get anything of major value, but I don't know if anyone thought the Dodgers were getting major value when they got River Ryan for Matt Beatty. And, that turned out to be not too bad. So I do think that for a guy, regardless of what you're looking for, maybe someone thinks that they can help him. Maybe someone just needs literally anybody. I'm sure there's teams that are fighting for a playoff spot that could use somebody to slot into the rotation, and James Paxton could be that guy. So who knows, maybe the Dodgers turn this into something. If not, it's surprising in the sense that you're thinking the Dodgers need guys to get through the rest of the regular season, and you're counting on, Kershaw to remain healthy and, these young guys to kind of keep going and everything else. But I think at this point, that you're going to have Glasnow, and you're going to have Gavin Stone, and you have Landon Knack and Robleski and River Ryan, who can all pitch, like you said, to the tune of what Paxton's been doing at the very least. You have Yamamoto maybe coming back before the end of the season. You have Kershaw coming back. Like you have Bobby Miller and Walker Buehler maybe coming back. There's still a lot of maybes in there, but realistically, you can put together 6, 7, 8 guys that aren't on that maybe list that can pitch better than James Paxton is right now.
Yeah, and Batmanium in the chat asked, do you think the Dodgers should have sent down Yohan Ramirez instead of James Paxton, maybe use Paxton as a reliever? It's an interesting question, but the fact is there's another 40-man roster spot needed later this week and 2 more 26-man roster spots. Yohan Ramirez is probably going away anyway. This is more a question of which order. And the fact is, like, if you look at the pitchers on the 40-man roster, there wasn't really a case to make that James Paxton still deserved one of those roster spots with the guys who are coming back, because they've also got Ryan Brazier and Bruce Argrad all coming back, soonish, hopefully. Like there's going to be a lot of roster casualties, and, really with 3 starting pitchers being added to the rotation this week, it made sense to drop your weakest link. And by any measure other than win-loss record, and by the way, James Paxton had 7.8 runs of support in his 8 wins. By any other measure, James Paxton was easily the weakest link in the Dodgers starting rotation.
Yeah, that's the other part. I texted somebody is maybe they just wanted somebody else to get those runs of support rather than James Paxton. So,
well, it wasn't River Ryan today.
yeah. So, but either way, it's one of those things where right now you make this move right now, you have a chance to maybe get a flyer prospect or something like that. And if you make this move next week, you don't have that chance. So I think the Dodgers are giving themselves that chance to maybe get a flyer prospect and or save some money, I guess, if I don't think they really care about that.
And I think it's the opposite. I think they did a solid because his start on Sunday gave him his last bonus of the season. He has fully vested all his bonuses. They let him stay in the rotation despite not deserving to until he had met all his bonuses. Like, they treated him with respect. And then once he had gotten those bonuses, now if he catches on with another team, great. If not, he still made $20 million this year, and that's a problem a lot of us would like to have. And so I think I remember back when I used to have a job, one of my coworkers got fired and his wife was complaining on Facebook that he got fired right before Christmas. And I had to point out to her, you know what? They wanted to fire him 4 months ago, but you were pregnant. They let him stay so that he could have insurance when you had your baby. Like, this was, I think the Dodgers did James Paxton totally a solid by letting him vest all his options, despite probably not deserving to still be on the roster. And now they can focus on hopefully trading him to a team that can use him. There might be a team that needs a guy to pitch almost 5 bad innings every 5th or 6th day.
Yeah. So, anything else, Jeff? I was maybe thinking about talking about Yarbrough. We don't have time.
There's plenty of time to talk about Yarbrough.
Yarbrough also got a lot of love in reply to one of my tweets. But we'll see. Ryan Yarbrough on the team after the trade deadline is basically what my point was. I don't think the Dodgers maybe made as many moves as they thought.
Yeah. The Yarbrough is on the roster right now because of a certain set of skills, which is he can apparently throw 40 pitches every other day. And there's some value in that. But they have been pretty bad pitches lately. And so, I do think we'll probably get into him more probably the next time he pitches and gives up a big home run.
Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day. Make sure to find us wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Make sure to become an everydayer by listening or watching every day, or at least adding one more episode to your week and seeing, if you like that, see how it feels. If you like it, maybe add another one and then another one, and then you're up to 5, and now you're an everydayer. So make sure to go do all that. Tell your friends, family, coworkers, anybody in your life that's a Dodger fan about Locked On Dodgers. We're here for you every Monday through Friday. Remember, you can go beyond the podcast, come on Locked On Dodgers Insider at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Get text directly from us with any Dodger updates, and text us back if you have any questions or comments. You can also check out Locked On Sports Today or Locked On Sports Los Angeles, 2 24/7 streaming channels from the Locked On Podcast Network, bringing the biggest news and stories from the sports world and the LA sports world. You can find the Locked On Dodgers postcast with host Pete Fox on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube feed, live after most Dodger games, and on our audio feed. You can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Locked On Dodgers. Jeff's on Twitter at SnyDog. I'm at Vincent91. You can DM us for any questions or comments. You can also send those via email, lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or via voicemail text at 323-863-5625. We're here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. You get in your car or sit on your couch, take your smart device, play a podcast, Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. Have a good one.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.